Olaimi, Ahmed, Ola, and everybody on the call. Today is the third episode of the Analytics Hub series. And if you're just joining us for the first time, you're welcome. It's an open community forum where we will share ideas amongst ourselves, help each other with latest information that will help as many of us who are willing to break into tech, change careers, upskill, and know what's happening in the industry. Our guest today is Mr. Folaemi. He's a analyst working with the NHS. We'll give him time to introduce himself. He's a very good friend, a very resourceful person who is generous and willing to share information that will help a lot of people transition into tech. So if you're just coming across for the first time, you haven't met me, my name is Hakeem Falade. I'm a data analyst with the UK Debt and Revenue Services. And I am also a trainer by the side, and I help people to transition into tech. I'm also a career coach, and I've been doing that for the past 3 years now with success stories to prove it. So you are in a space whereby you will get value for your time. And without further ado, Mr. Folaya Kayode is our guest. So please, may we meet you? Tell us yourself and your career, and let the let the panel, let everybody hear from you, sir.
Good evening, everyone. I don't know what he's talking about, but my name is Fola. I was working with the NHS. I was working as a pop health data analyst, population health data analyst with the Suffolk and Northeast Excess Integrated Care. But before I moved to GraphNet, where I started as a pop health analyst before I decided to move into QA as a data tester. So I've been in the tech industry for, let's say, give or take 4 to 5 years. While back in Nigeria, I was working for a company called New Hope Nigeria, and basically I was doing their data, which was more of an informal thing. I didn't know that it was going to catapult me into the realm of, doing so much data and working with large language models and large data. And everybody that knows the NHS would practically understand that NHS has one of the largest data in the UK.
Yeah.
So yeah, which is quite interesting. You having to query a large amount of data and understanding how the data works over time. So I'm really glad to be here. I'm really glad that Mr. Kim called me here, and I'm happy to share what I think I know, the little I think I know in the tech world, in the
Thank
UK
you.
and outside that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. So I want to ask you just a question. For a lot of people who are trying to transition into tech, they have tech background, probably coming across different field, but they want to move into the data analytics sphere. What tool stack would you recommend that they first start learning and getting their hands grip with?
Thank you for that question.
MTN.
Basically, I think that
Yes, I can hear you now.
for someone that didn't come from a tech background, and it's let me say this: I studied animal science in the University of Ibadan, so I didn't come from a tech background at all. I came from a non-tech, trust me, a totally non-tech background, and I've moved into tech. And one thing I would say is this: that we always want to focus as tech on the tools. No, I always say this: the tools doesn't make you, you make the tools.
Yeah.
And when anybody comes to me, the first thing I'll tell them is you need to develop the soft skills first. And once you develop the soft skills, you can definitely move into the hard skills. And the hard skills are the tech, the what do you call
Excel.
the Excel, the Power BI, the Tableau of this world, the R and Python. I don't think I know much. I think the only thing I knew then was Excel, and because we used to input Excel, everybody knew Excel back home.
Yeah.
But over time, I discovered that when I entered the job, I was also, beginning. We always want to learn one, two. Oh, I've not known Power BI, I've not known Excel.
Yeah.
Those are key, very key.
Very
But
key.
the first thing you want to know is, do you understand communication skills? As a data analyst,
Yeah.
communication is very, very important. I think I've got nailed so many times because I didn't communicate with the stakeholder accurately. So the stakeholder was thinking something and I was publishing something else entirely. Sorry, just one moment, please.
I totally agree with you that communication is the foundation for you to transition in a tech. And I gave that example last week where I said if someone is a 10 out of 10 with the hard skill in Excel, but he's a 2 out of 10 in trying to convey his thought and his thinking pattern, he will not be hired, right? They would rather pick
Yeah,
somebody who is struggling, who can communicate well and know a little. They'll take that one over someone who is very good with test skills.
yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. You have an experience in the NHS, which is a gold spot for a lot of us who are trying to transition into there. For someone who is scheduled for an interview, what success tips? Or let me put it this way: how will you prepare that person to smash that interview? What will he expect, and how will he position himself to smash that interview? Someone coming from with an IT tech background, also as with having undergone training in analytics.
Well, it's simple. The NHS is more into the NHS is a place whereby they are ready to teach you what you need to learn. But one of the things the NHS wants to know is that you've got the curiosity, you've got the zeal, and you've got the problem solving skills. Um,
Okay.
they will definitely give you tests whereby they will tell you, and one of the things they do is just to test your ability in the NHS is, especially if you're applying from nhs.uk or job train, if you are using Scotland and stuff like that. One of the things you want to think about is they want to test how you can be able to communicate, one, how you can solve problems. And one of the things about the NHS is there's so many people, there's so many departments coming into analytics. You get so many requests from different angles. They want to see that you know how to prioritize and how to problem solve. But one of the key things going into the NHS is this: you understand that NHS works on large data, large volume of data. And if you
Okay.
are going into the NHS for any interview, know that if you do, there are so many data out there. If you go to cargo.com and stuff like that to get raw data, focus on
Yeah.
health data. Focus on health data. I will tell something that if you're going into the NHS, depending on where you're going to, there's
Yeah.
the BI, there's so many places in the NHS. There's the core intelligence. I worked in the intelligence unit of the NHS, whereby we're working cross platforms with city councils and stuff like that because we're trying to get intelligence and we're doing high level of data. But outside that, there are places that focus on finances. First, know the part of NHS you're actually applying to. Two,
Okay.
focus your analytics on that. Let me give you an example. When I wanted to enter the NHS, it was really simple for me. I did my projects then on what's it called? On cervical cancer screening. And then I
Your
got into
project. What project do you mean? You mean undergraduate, or I don't? Can you
no,
just master's
masters.
project? Okay.
Yes, yes. I did my master's project on cervical cancer screening. And I went for the interview and they were like, before the interview, they said, prepare a project, prepare a presentation of analytics you've done. And what
Okay.
did I do? I just prepared it, put in some few data and talked about it passionately. I didn't come from a health and analytics background or anything. But the thing about the NHS is this: there are levels for training. There are always availability for you to train on a daily basis. They are ready to train you. But the scope is this: they need to understand that you know the rudiments, you know the soft skills. They won't
Yeah.
ask you to, choose Power BI or choose Tableau. They will say choose anyone you feel like you want to use. And the
Yeah.
NHS is one of those places that still recognizes Excel, and Excel is a key thing for us. Still recognizes how to use Excel and stuff like that. So if you're going into the NHS, know the tool you want to use because they might ask you for the technical part. But you see, collaboration, problem solving, there are key things you need to know. Prepare all your answers on this. And I tell people, ChatGPT is here to help you. Put it in and tell ChatGPT to act like the recruiting manager and ask
Yeah.
fashion out questions for you, even in as an NHS recruiting manager. You'll be quite surprised the level of questions that they ask. And one thing I know about the NHS is this: they always focus on team building and task. How do you manage your time? Time management.
Time
Those are the
management.
two key things NHS is really big about because the work is non-stop.
Yeah, I remember when we had a session last year, May or so, I applied for a job in NHS as well, and I got the interview. And the one of the questions you told me they will ask me, which they asked me was, how do you work? How do you work in a team?
Team.
And the response you told me to use one word that you consider
Mitochondria.
yourself as the mitochondria of the team. And when I made that statement in that phrase, they looked at me like, okay, you know what you are saying. You
Yeah,
consider yourself as someone who is the plug, who
yeah.
connects with everybody and leverages his strength with makes everybody in the team works together as one. And
Mm.
that's really cool. You also mentioned Excel. Yeah, Excel is broad. In a way, Excel is it's a total package. Every different careers can use it. But for someone who's a lot of us on the call want to break into tech, right? What are the things? What are the functions? What are the aspects of Microsoft Excel you would you would recommend a beginner to begin learning?
Well, that's a very difficult one to answer. Why? Why is because Excel is like three phases. You have the beginner, you have the intermediate, and you have the
Yeah,
master's level. One of those things you need to understand, you need to understand your functions, your sum if, your count ifs,
yeah,
your your basic functions, how to structure your data in such a way, and then you need to know your pivot table. Your
yeah,
pivot table is quite important because you can't do anything else when you are tending to build dashboards. If you are going to build dashboards in Excel, which NHS still do, build dashboards in Excel, you need your pivot table. And you really need to understand how the functions work, your date functions. So most of those functions, I don't know much of Excel, forgive me, because even when I use Excel, I patch it in with Python or R. Python basically, I use R separately. And then it's so good right now. And this is one of the things I do because I love Power BI. This is one of the things I do. Dark, what's it called?
that's
There's this part
data.
for,
Is it data analysis expressions you talked about?
yeah, not data analytics. There's this part of when you try to transform your data.
Power query.
Excel Power Query. Thank you very much.
And
I
the
use
M
Power
language
Query.
too.
Sorry.
Do you use the M language in Power Query in your
Yes,
work?
yes, yes, yes. M language is key. Once you know how to write, I was applying for a job one time like that, and they specifically said it, understand M language,
Yeah.
know M language. And when I got into the company that I am at the moment, one of the things that I didn't realize how important M language was. But when I got into the company I am currently, we use Power BI a lot. We use Power BI like every single day. Most of our data, most of our clients, we use Power BI for them. And
Okay.
I discovered that you understanding M language makes you using Power BI quite easy. You
Yeah,
know, people
that's
will
the
say,
language of Power Query editor, and
yeah,
that's what you
yeah,
use for your
yeah.
extracting,
People
your
will say,
transformation, and
yeah,
loading.
yeah. People will say click. Power BI is click and go, click and
Yeah.
go, click and go. But once you understand M language, you can really understand how to manipulate it basically. And look, even if you are using ChatGPT to do that, ChatGPT will write M language for you. The question is, do you understand what you are looking
Yeah,
at?
the context. Okay,
Yes.
yeah, thank you. Next question. A lot of us at the moment now are frustrated with the job searching process. A lot of applications, which unfortunately comes back in. I know that you have also experienced that phase because there's nobody who got a job in the UK here that did not have, unfortunately. Um, what were your winning strategies on how did you overcome that phase? And then you landed your first job, you moved into two other jobs consecutively. For someone who is stuck right now, who is at that ground, that lower level, what advice would you tell them, strategies to overcome the that phase of applying for jobs and not getting responses?
Well, I'll put the God factor first. Forgive me if there's someone on this call that doesn't believe in God. I'll put the God factor first. It's key to that. But two is you have to be strategic about what you're looking out for. I think
Yeah,
one of the mistakes we make as tech professionals and data analysts and stuff like that is that we understand that we know data analytics, we understand we are data analysts, but the question is, what are we actually looking out for? Now,
yeah,
it's easy for us to go online. Now, one, let me put it like this. As a data analyst, when you are searching for jobs, don't search for jobs as data analysts. There are
yeah,
so many jobs out there. Like
exactly.
I mentioned that when I started out, I'd never started out as data analyst. I started out as sales rubbish analyst. Then I went into population health analyst. Oh, data analytics.
Yeah,
All data analytics. There are so many names that they give for the word data analyst. You can say procurement service analyst, you can
Yeah.
see,
Reporting
yeah,
analyst.
you can see reporting analyst, you can see
Yeah.
BI analyst. The day I
Yeah.
understood that BI analyst was business intelligence analyst, it
Yeah.
took me time. I will see BI analyst and I'll run away. That me, I don't
What?
know what BI analyst is. And it was basically business intelligence
Yeah.
too. And most
Yeah.
of them,
Power BI or
yeah,
Tableau.
I'll say this. UK, if Tableau is more like, you find Tableau in the US, US, what's it called? US
Your
markets,
yeah.
basically, or other European countries. There's something about the UK and Microsoft. I don't know if they signed a deal. Most companies, if they use Microsoft a lot.
Yeah.
Microsoft is the ecosystem that they use here in the
Exactly.
UK.
So because they use Microsoft a lot, once you know Excel, once you know Power BI, Excel is key. I'll
Yes.
say this: if you are moving into the NHS, Excel is key. You need to know your Excel because NHS is still forward.
Old
Let me
school.
not use that word. Yeah, forward in so many things that they still realize, they still feel that Excel is key. But as that, also when you are building up your CV,
Yeah.
understand that you need to build your CV for different jobs. There's no generic CV anywhere anymore right now. The thing is this: it has gone so much that everybody, I know everybody know what ATS means. It scans your data. They know that 1 million people are going to submit application. So it goes through the ATS. They've got different keywords that the ATS is looking for. Once it doesn't see it, you're, even if you are the best of the best, it's going to get chunked out. You're going to get in, unfortunately, immediately. It's like automated. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not like automated. It's automated. You're
It
going to
doesn't
get
mean it doesn't pass their criteria, their
Yes,
checklist.
yes. And also the way we structure our CV, you find people that you put your CV and you put designs in it, you put borders in it. Computers don't read borders. ATS, once ATS see borders, it just keeps it and go to the next thing. Leave your CV as plain as possible. Make sure that the project, if you want to include projects in your resume, make sure that the project aligned with the job you are looking for. You can't be looking for health analytics and you are putting what you did as a sales, a reporting analyst or a marketing analyst. Once you put
Yeah.
that in, it works. But half of the time, you're like just shooting yourself in the leg because there are so many people that will put, related, health related analytics into their work and stuff like that. Again, build in public is
You just took
really,
that out
really,
of my mind. Exactly what I
yeah,
wanted to say. You
build
got to be
in,
building in
yeah,
public.
build in public. I'm guilty of that. I don't like the internet. Half of the time, people that know me very well will know that I'm not actually on the internet. But recently, I've understood one thing about, if you want to scale from one level to the other level, you need to build in public. That once in a while, I just put something on my LinkedIn and I see a recruiter say, "Hey, what's up?" And I'll
Yeah.
say this: the job that I got recently, that I'm working in, that a recruiter just called me and be like, "Look, there are not so much population health analysts in the UK. They are very rare. We need, you are the best guy for this job." And I was like, "Bro, I'm not even thinking about it." And he was like, "Bro, I saw your resume and you're like the best guy for this job." And I
Did
went
he
for
tell
it.
you where you saw your resume from?
He didn't tell me. It
Okay.
didn't tell me. But then, once you start building in public, and then too, when I was doing that, I was, just picking tit and bit, putting it everywhere, just saying, yeah, this and this and this. But build in public, build
Were you
dashboard.
posting more? Which platform were you building? Were you posting your development or your series on?
Yes, I was posting on LinkedIn. I was posting on Twitter. People don't like X. I don't like X. There's really savage people on X. Recruiters are currently moving away from X. I've seen recruiters moving away from X. There was a time X jobs were like the best thing in the world. There was a time whereby recruiters were in analytics communities on X. Look, there are so many places that are analytics community, join communities. You'll be
Yeah.
surprised that there are so many recruiters or there are so many top guys in companies that they are just part of those communities looking out for talents they can harness.
Yeah.
Join communities, speak to people, just post your work in public. It is key. As analysts, look, everybody is training for to be a data analyst, everybody is training to be an IT professional. But what sets you differently from those people is that when a recruiter goes into your portfolio, they see what you can do and they know what you can do. You get a training today, you get your certificate, you put it on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You are saying, "Oh, you are just learning data analytics." You know how LinkedIn is like. If you want to think about your life, just go to LinkedIn. You just see people that are doing things and you be like, "Ah, am I not the one?" And I say it is just English. They are not better than you. It's just
Yeah.
them packaging it with English. Go to LinkedIn, package it with English. Recruiters, there's so many recruiters on
Use
LinkedIn.
ChatGPT to your help to even fine tune your comment and everything.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Use ChatGPT. Now everybody knows. Even at my workplace, we'll be talking like this, and people will just be like, "I just ask co-pilots now, or what is it?" ChatGPT is not a sin anymore. Gone are the days whereby you'll be using ChatGPT and you'll be covering your system so that they will not know that you are using AI.
Yeah.
As tech professionals, AI has come to stay. It's either we integrate or we get left out.
I
So just
totally
build
agree
in
with
public.
you. And I was sharing last week with the guest on the episode where I told them that, you see, if you want to build credibility, you have to post your content in public. And when someone wants to verify your credibility, let me use that word again, and they just check your name on LinkedIn and they say, okay, you are working with intelligence with data, okay, and they see you've written an article on Excel or an analysis, 2, 3 articles, and they are scrolling down, they are seeing your post, they are seeing where you made an analysis, you put a dashboard, and they are scrolling and scrolling, and they are seeing you are making a post maybe once a week. Your post, your page is not dry. It convinces them that, yeah, you are past the stage whereby you are doubting yourself, but now you are confident on what you are putting out there in the public. And they'll pick you over someone who just has his name and his job and nothing, right?
Yes,
Because before they
absolutely correct.
meet you in person, they will scan that person and check on the internet and verify. So I'm encouraging, Mr. Ahmed, your hand is on your camera. So
Yes, sir.
I'm encouraging every one of us who is learning to post in public and just a lot of us find it hard to be consistent. But you see, people who are less talented than you are succeeding because they are twice as more consistent than you.
Yeah.
We are going to
That's
enter February in 2 days now. If you consistently schedule your LinkedIn post for every Friday, you will post 4 times in February. If you do
yeah.
that for the next 6 months, you have 24 posts on your page, right? And I was sharing with the guest last week. I was it on the first episode. I shared my screen and I went to ChatGPT to say to write a post where I've learned how to use XLOOKUP, and we created a LinkedIn post with a picture, and I showed them where they could schedule a post to go
Yes.
on a certain date. So you can block out 30 minutes today after this call and do that for your LinkedIn and schedule the post to go out maybe next week in 2 weeks' time and for the next 4 or 5 times, and you are done.
Yeah.
So you can
You
make
use
it every
connectors.
Sunday. Every Sunday, I'll block 1 hour to schedule this post and it goes out there. That is adding tenacity to the job hunting you are doing, right? Today, I received a call from a recruiter saying that he saw my CV on CV Library. I don't know what version of CV that was.
Yeah.
Saying, "Oh, I'm the best, and my CV is very good. I want to know if I'm trying to consider a role now, that it matches what they are looking for and all that." I told them I'm not interested. I'm actually working. Now the thing is, I have just recently been posting on LinkedIn, right? And a lot of them are now beginning to, I don't know what they use, but there seems to be a traction where they see a profile on CV Library that they really like, and they type that person's name on Google, and Google will bring your name on LinkedIn, and then they
Yeah.
check who you are. So I'm encouraging everybody to build in public.
I think
Build
it's
in
a,
public.
there's a setting for that on LinkedIn. Make sure you activate that setting that you can be found on Google. If you go to your profile and go to settings, that setting is actually key for everybody. Some people will have removed it because of privacy. Don't. And let me just chip this in. The thing is, in the tech space, and for everybody that is learning, I'll put this in the tech space, and I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying to talk down on us, but in the tech space, we are like at the lower edge. I'll say this: there are so many demographics in the UK that they think that they are better in tech space than us. So we need to do double. So if you are working one step, if you really want to enter the tech space, know that it's so much work. Once, even when you enter, it's so much work to be able to build yourself, to make them see you, that kind of a thing. You'll be surprised that you get a job today, you're apparently the only black guy on the team, and then you have to do more. So as that, we know where we are coming from. We know that in the tech space is like 100, a job comes in like now, 100 people are submitting application in the next 1 hour. The question you ask yourself before you submit that CV is, how can I differentiate myself from these 100 people? And once you can answer that question all by yourself, you find out that you start getting interviews, you start getting call-ups, and all you need is interview. Just pass that stage whereby you get that interview. Once you get that interview, it's a step. You get more confident to apply for more jobs. You get
Yeah.
more confidence to,
I
pass more interviews. It's basic like that.
totally
It's
agree
not
with
rocket
you.
science.
Totally spot on. And like I always say, like you only need 1 year, right?
Yes,
You
just
send
one
out
year.
hundreds of CVs, right? When you attend interviews, you can only work for one employer. So volume negates there's this saying I can't remember right now, but when if you want to overcome negativity or
Yeah,
boost your chances of success, you increase the volume, right?
yeah,
The more volume of CVs you send out, the more you are improving your chances, right? So if you are trying to get an interview, maybe you want to get 10 interviews, right? Then multiply that by maybe times 10. Say if you send out 100 CVs and you're able to get 10% interviews,
yeah.
out of that 10, you do well, you get one. That's the
You get one.
1% formula I shared with them, right? So thank you, Mr. Fola. It's been fantastic having you on the episode. You shared a lot of nuggets. But before I let you go, some people might be thinking it's not possible. This data analytics, everybody does analytics. It's not possible to get a job. I want to hear from you. What will you say? What will you say? What would be your answer to that question?
I don't know where everybody is at the moment, and might be some people might be in Nigeria and every part of the world. Just know one thing today, that one of the most lucrative jobs and one of the jobs for the future is data analytics. And do you know why data analytics is one of the jobs for the future? Because now everybody is trying to measure metrics. Everybody is going cloud. Everybody is going to the cloud. Everybody is trying to measure metrics. There was a time whereby we didn't understand the power of data. Now we understand the power of data, and everybody is trying to harness the power of data. When you see most companies, they will tell you they are moving towards data, and
Yeah,
this is the best time to ledge into it. The amount of job postings between 2017 for data analyst and now is like times 100,000 or 1 million, 100 million. Now you have people going for data analyst as much as possible. You have companies dedicating a whole large amount of money for analytics, just trying to understand what their metrics are. And this is where we can actually plug in. Now everybody's moving into AI. They are trying to understand what's the metrics behind AI. And one thing they don't want to do at the moment is use AI to analyze the performance of AI, because AI is still not there at the moment.
yeah,
So right now we are at that point, we are at that peak. And if you go and check it, the top jobs for the future outside cyber security and stuff like that, we have data analysts at that at that edge, outside one of those ones that are like going you know out of order when it comes to the amount of jobs that will be available for data analysts. When I started learning data analytics, and I'll say this, it's easy to give up. It's very easy to give up. And see, you can scale. I know how much I was earning when I entered the UK, and I know how much I'm earning at the moment. I'm not earning my dream money, but I would say that outside, I'm not earning badly. I'm not earning badly at all. And then I will say this: if you are looking for the money, there's money in data analytics. If you are looking for jobs, the job people know
remote
that
work.
there is money. People know that there is money, and
Yeah,
because there is money, there are so many people running into data analytics at the moment. And once you start learning it, once you are curious about it, you will find out that you would love it. And once you love data analytics, it is simple from there.
yeah,
Most companies, the only difficult part is when you want to enter. Most companies right now already have structures that you have to follow as a data analyst, whereby you don't
yeah,
have to think outside the box. All you
yeah.
just have to know is you know your
Follow the
formulas.
template.
Just follow the template. It's
Yeah,
not big job anymore. Just
it's the
follow
same
the
report you
template.
will do all the time. It's the same thing you
Yes.
do over and over again.
You don't know the funny thing, yeah. If you are working for the NHS, you might be doing bespoke reports. If you are maybe in intelligence unit of the NHS, you might be doing bespoke reports, trying to build reports from the beginning. But if you are working in maybe BI, You don't do any bespoke reports. It's very hard for them to do new dashboards. All you just do is, oh, someone said they need an enhancement on a dashboard, something that has already been built. You just go there, just add, maybe you just take one filter and take another filter or formulas they've done before, just put it together, have a new
design and
what's it called?
template.
Has a new template or have a new graph, and you've got it. And by the end of the month, you get your money. You go home, you enjoy yourself. So
Right.
the beginning is always tough, but once you get in, there is so much opportunities, countless opportunities. Do not give up for any reason. When I started, like I said, I had friends that gave up. Out of like 7 of us, I think I was the only one that finished the course then. And right now, when where I am today, I'm quite grateful because I have the leisure. I work practically from home. I can balance family and work life. I don't
Yeah.
have to think about having to go into the snow, and that's one of the benefits you can actually get. I don't have
Yeah.
to. I live in Aberdeen. Aberdeen is as cold as God knows, dog knows.
Yeah.
But I stay inside my house and I work. I just wake up in the morning. I can wake up around 8:45 a.m. and I resume work by 9. I don't even have my bath sometime. Maybe on my break, that's when I go to have my bath and I come back to my laptop. I just sit down there. I do what I have all my morning scrums and I do everything I want to do. And I'm back in my seat and I do my work to the end of the day. So please do it. If you have a doubt about data analytics, right now I'm telling you, do it. Because at the end of the day, you'll not be sharing me your moolah at the end of the day, money you get at the end of the day, but you trust my words to say that, yeah, it's actually a worthwhile thing to do.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I really appreciate you on the call.
Thank you very much, sir.
Please, we could likely ask you again to come on board. What we are planning for next week is interview preparation.
Okay.
And if there's anybody on the call who is at interview stage now, you want to prepare, you want to begin to develop yourself for interview, just send an email to training@intelligencewithdata.com with your request and then with your CV as well, and with the job you are preparing for, and we'll come on board and give you that live practical opportunity as well. If you want to have a recap of this video, it's going to be on YouTube. At the channel name is Intelligence with Data, and that's the same name on Instagram and on TikTok as well. So I will see you all next week, Thursday, 8 p.m. UK time, 9 p.m. Nigerian time. And let's keep this community thriving where we keep on learning and upskilling and getting better every week. The future is bright. Keep up alive. You only need 1 year. Thank you, everybody. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
I think